Welcome back to the 60th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
You excited to go to the Bat Cave?
I am excited. This is a little different for us, but this is our 60th, man, our 60th episode. We're about at the halfway point, I think, for this season, season 2, as well as I think for almost the entire series. So it felt like a good time to kind of do something special. Something that we
And,
did in March.
and I've been told I'm special, so
Some, something that we did in March. So yeah, we're a little bit behind, but we are glad to finally be talking about this. So yeah, we had a fun experience seeing the Fiberglass Freaks Batman Museum, which is located in, is it Logansport? Is that right?
yep, Logansport, Indiana.
Logansport, Indiana. So, yeah, we want to tell you all about our experience and the whole thing, how it came about. But first, before we do that, I guess we should talk about a little bit of history about the Fiberglass Freaks and the museum, which hasn't been around for very long, but the Fiberglass Freaks have been. In particular, the owner of the Fiberglass Freaks Museum is Mark Raycup. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm mispronouncing it, please forgive me, but I do believe it's Mark Raycup. And Mark was a huge Batman fan. Grew up watching the show. I think he said he saw his first episode in 1967. So yeah, he loved the show so much. In particular, he loved the Batmobile that he wanted to build one. He was collecting memorabilia, but he wanted his own Batmobile. And I can relate. That is,
Yeah,
I still, we've talked about it before. The Batmobile is the coolest car on the planet, I think. The only thing that I can find, and this is only a recent discovery of mine, by the way, going off on a little tangent, but the only thing I can find wrong about the Batmobile is that I'm not really sure what you do when it rains. Or
now
wait. I think you get wet. I think that's what happens when it rains.
now I do believe the car originally had it had something like a can. I've seen it with the canopy on it.
Yeah. Well,
So
we've talked about it before. I think when we were first doing our first season when we were talking about the Batmobile, we were talking about how it was designed by George Barris in 1965 and that he used a Ford Futura, which was a model car, which was appeared in a couple of movies and wasn't I don't think it was really like sold to the public. I think it was just a prototype. But in any case, George Barris got one, used it, sculpted it, and made it into the best car in the world. Exactly right. For those people watching in the video, he Drew is holding up a replica, not a corgi replica, which I have. I will hold up my corgi replica, and yeah, this is a it's a beautiful car. It's a beautiful car. So it's interesting. I very much understand Mark's fascination with the car and the show. Obviously, we understand his fascination with the show because we have devoted a whole podcast and video cast for the show. So he and his buddies set about making. This is the short abridged version. I definitely encourage you. There's videos out there about how he made this, and documentaries have talked about this as well. Articles online. I definitely recommend that if you're interested in this journey to check it out because it is a fascinating. I'm not even a big car guy, and neither were they. They started from scratch. They didn't know anything about cars or anything like that. And they finally created a model of the Batmobile that they were happy with. And I think when they finally got a chance to meet George Barris and see the actual car, one of the cars that was used, they were only off by a fraction of an inch, I think, in all regards. So they came really close to creating a Batmobile. And then Mark took it upon himself to build more, and he got in the business of building Batmobiles, replica Batmobiles, because a lot of people wanted one. Who wouldn't, you know?
Yeah, I want
Uh,
one.
exactly. So he builds Batmobile, and he is officially licensed by DC Comics to build 66 replica Batmobiles. So, and that's pretty cool. Now, because he was doing this and showing them around at shows and cons and everything, and he had a reputation for this, my understanding is that people would come by and want to see the place that they were being built, wanted to meet him, and so they would pop by the garage where he was building them. I do know a couple of friends of mine who live in the Midwest did do that. They actually went to Logansport and visited him, but there wasn't a lot to see because it was just a garage where they were, just like any other garage, only, they had Batmobiles there, if they were building them at the time. So Mark decided that he would, if he was getting people interested in coming out there anyway, and I think he had a desire to show off his own merchandise collection, which he had amassed over the decades. He decided that he was going to build a Batman museum in Logansville. It's an odd place.
Logansport.
Logansport, sorry. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm in Georgia and there's a Logansville here, so that's why I get like so yeah, keep correcting me because I might make that mistake some more. So anyway, he decided a few years ago because it's only the Batman Museum's only been around for I think 3 years, I think. Went to a crowdfunding campaign, got a lot of supporters, and then went through all the hoops that you have to go through in getting a museum open, and finally got it done. And I'll tell you what, this is a place to go. Like it is worth the trip. Logansport is not like near any airport. It is about, would you say it's fair to say it's about halfway between Indianapolis and Lafayette, where Purdue University is?
I thought it was I didn't think it was halfway. I thought it was
A little further?
a little further. I thought it was wasn't it like an hour and a half drive there?
Yeah, I think for
West Lafayette is only an hour drive from Indianapolis, and I think we drove about an hour and a half.
yeah, and West Lafayette, like I think it's only about like 40 minutes from Lafayette.
Yeah.
So
It's closer to West Lafayette than
yes,
it is to
yes.
Indianapolis. So
So it's not, and believe me, taking that trip, it's not exactly like like on a major highway, So, but it is worth the trip. It's kind of like, I've been to Metropolis, Illinois, which is at the bottom of Illinois, which is not near any airports. It's not near Chicago by any means. It's not even near Champaign. It's like pretty far away, but yet the people of Metropolis, Illinois have made it into a destination for Superman nerds and pop culture nerds, and it has it does its thing. This is, I feel, very similar to that experience, having done both. Now, as soon as this shop, or as soon as I found out about this museum, I was wanting to go. I was itching to go, but of course, it's in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. Um, and fortunately, I know people in Indiana.
I wonder who you knew.
So I've got family in Indiana and I've got friends in Indiana. So, and I'm pleased to say that in March of this year, I made the trip up there to visit with family, my cousin, as well as meet Drew in person for the first time. We've known each other for almost 2 decades,
Oh,
it feels like.
yeah. I think
And
when did I meet you? 2010? 2010, 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
It was online, and I came on the Earth Station One podcast.
We'd worked together both in podcasting and doing publishing because I have published a couple of anthologies which Drew has appeared in writing wise and so we've known each other for a little while, but we never met in person. So and after doing the podcast and everything like that, we Jeff definitely made sure that it was time to do that. So I went up to Indianapolis, spent a long weekend there. And the first thing we did was it was at the time that the Indiana Comic Con was going on in March. So the first thing we did was go spend a day on that Friday to at the Indiana Comic Con. Now, before we get to going there, had you heard about the museum, about Mark, about the Fiberglass Freaks being in Indiana at all? Were you aware that this was a thing in your own state, Drew?
Yes, I was aware of it because um, it was one evening. I think I was even podcasting. May have been Earth Station DCU, and I got a text from my son who goes to Ball State. He sent me over an article about the Batman Museum.
Oh,
He
cool.
saw it online or something. So it came over, and I was like, "Whoa, there's a Batman Museum." That's how I found out about it,
Gotcha.
and it wasn't open yet.
Were you aware of the Fiberglass Geeks making Batmobiles?
No, I didn't know anybody in the state was doing that. I was not
Gotcha.
aware of it.
Gotcha. Had you seen Batmobiles? Because you'd been to Indianapolis,
Yes,
Indiana
there
Comic
had
Con
been a
before.
Batmobile at Indiana Comic Con before, but
Gotcha.
I don't think it was the Fiberglass Freaks. I just somebody just had a Batmobile and brought it there.
Hmm. I
It was the
would.
first time I sat in it, and I was like, this thing is awesome.
I'll tell you what, the first time I sat in a Batmobile, which was years ago at a convention in Massachusetts, um, I realized that this was not built for me because it was tight. It was a very, very tight fit. Um, and subsequently, I've been in other replicas before. There's been some in Greenville at the SC Comic Con that I go to, as well as other conventions. So I've seen a lot of heck. In Massachusetts, I've even got a picture of my family, my parents, my sister, my nephew. We're all in and around the Batmobile. So it really is a family thing for us. I don't think those were ones that were created by Mark. There are other people out there that are doing Batmobiles as well, and we give a lot of props to anybody who takes it upon themselves to do that because that is an amazing thing to do. But so, so anyway, we decided that we were going to do this. I talked to Drew ahead of time, of course, rearranged it, and yeah, we met up at Indiana Comic Con on that Friday. And one of the first things we did was we went to the Fiberglass Freaks booth and saw their Batmobile. And it was very different than other Batmobiles that I've been to because I could tell right away that it was bigger. Like sitting in it, there was a lot of room. So the ones that Mark is making now, and this was not the one that was on display at the convention, was not the first one that he built. It was another one. I think he's built over 30 now at this point, and sold them to various things. He does also, takes them to various conventions and events and everything like that. And so obviously it makes sense to me that you would build one and that you would build it bigger because well people like me are bigger. But that so anyway so yeah, seeing the Batmobile is always a thrill, and meeting unfortunately Mark wasn't at the booth. He was at a panel when we went by, and but they were a couple of people who were working there were aware of our podcast, which was amazing and very much an honor. Appreciate that a lot. And then we, sat in the car, got some pictures, and I thought it was a really, I mean, the car looks beautiful. The one that they had on display at the convention was gorgeous, not only on the outside, but on the inside. On the inside, they've got the phone, they've got all the radar, they've got all the bells and whistles that you remember from the show, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. We even had Batman there.
There was a guy dressed in 60s Adam West Batman outfit, and I don't know if he was. I think he was there with the booth, or maybe he was just there and hanging out at the booth. But yeah, so yeah, we did the Bat-TASTIC with him.
Yes, we did.
And they had some merchandise and everything like that. So they did a really great job, and they were busy. I think all the time that we went by the booth and that we were there, there was constantly people in line to check out and get their picture in the Batmobile. So I think it was one of the biggest attractions at the convention, if I must say, even for people who are younger. I mean, a lot of the times these conventions have not just things for us old nerds but for the young kids too. And I think there was a lot of people that were just checking it out because it is, no matter what, it's still a cool car.
Yeah.
They have other cars too. They had I believe a Ghostbusters car and a couple of the other vehicles as well. But come on, Batmobile is the Batmobile.
I got to tell you, the just a short mention of them. There's a Ghostbusters group in town that I've seen before, so I wasn't surprised to see them at the convention. So I've seen their car before. I've even I've even door dashed to a home, and there was a Ghostbusters car sitting in their driveway.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, where am I at here?
Yeah, seeing some of that stuff outside of a convention is always surreal. I do remember one time I was driving up to a convention in Greenville, South Carolina, and as I was driving along, I was passed by someone driving a Batmobile and a 60s Batmobile, and I was like, "Whoa, that is amazing."
I've seen a 60s Batmobile. This has been a few years ago. Drive down Lafayette Road. There's a Lafayette Road in Indianapolis. So I saw a Batmobile driving down Lafayette Road, and I had to do a double take. I was like, "Whoa!"
During that convention weekend, Mark actually did release a video of him driving around Indianapolis in the Batmobile. And that's why I kind of thought for the first time in my life, I'm like, oh my God, what do you do when it rains? Because it was kind of rainy a little bit. And I was like, yeah, there's no cover. Like it's just open. So that was very strange because I don't think it ever rains on the 60 show. Like I don't we have not we're halfway through the season and it hasn't rained yet on the show. I don't think we haven't he hasn't faced weather wizard yet. We had the a threat of snow, but not rain. In any case, so that was really great. If you get a chance to see Mark Fiberglass Freaks at a convention, I think they mainly stick to the Midwest, but I'm not sure. Do it, do it, do it, do it, because it is a great experience. The people that we talked to were great. They were fun. They were friendly and knowledgeable. They could have told us all. I mean, I think they did mention a lot of stuff about the car, but stuff with cars just kind of goes like hits me in like a wall. Like I just don't. It doesn't stick. Nothing sticks. So anyway, we did get to go. We did make the reason that we went to the convention on Friday was because on Saturday we were going to make the trip to go to the museum, to drive that hour and a half to Logansport to the museum. And we got there. We got there safe and sound thanks to the driving from my cousin Bill. And Drew had his one of his sons with him, so there were four of us, and we were all making the trip to go to see this. We got there a little early. We got there before they opened. Because on Saturday they open a little bit later, I think, in the day, right? It was I'm not sure what time it was, but it was like
I was
around.
thinking, I think it was 11, around 11 p.m. or something, or not p.m., 11 a.m.
Yeah,
I
we weren't there.
think.
Yeah, we weren't there too early, but we got there a little
Yeah,
early, and we were
just a few minutes
we
early.
didn't have to wait around long because they quickly opened the doors and we went running through. So it is downtown. The museum is downtown Logansport. I believe that's downtown anyway. It did look like a downtownish area
It did.
for a small town. and very unassuming. Like if you didn't like, it's just weird. It's just like you go downtown and you see like the normal shops, and then all of a sudden, boom, Batman Museum right there. But as soon as you go in, yeah, you're embraced with 60s era bat goodness, I'd say, right, Drew?
Oh, yes.
It's quite awesome. The first thing that you see when you go in is, I think it's the same thing you see when you come out, which is the shop, the gift shop, and they have some merchandise of their own, which I got this hat, and they have merchandise of Batman 60s related merchandise, which there is a ton of now.
Yeah.
There for a while there, a long while after the series and everything like that was over, there was not a lot of Batman 60s merchandise because of the legal issues that they were having between Fox and Warner Brothers and DC and everybody. But finally, that was cleared up about, I'd say, 15, 20 years ago. And since then, it's you can find all sorts of merchandise. And they had a good number of it on display in the shop. But you pay your ticket. You pay your fee to go in. It's a very reasonable fee. I don't even remember what it was because I didn't care.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was either, but I was very excited about going in. And
Yeah.
that first hallway you go down, they've got they've got like a history on the wall. And I remember I'm one of those guys that likes to read everything. So I'm like trying to read stuff. Mike's moving on down the hall. I'm like, okay,
I'm a fast reader, Drew.
I'm not. So I was taking my time in
I
the
think
hallway.
everybody who watches our show and listens to our show knows that, Drew. But we love you for it.
So I enjoyed them having the history on the wall there. So I was kind of reading through that. I think it was basically a history of Batman. So
Yes, yeah, that was the first introduction of the character, and yeah, the introduction, like the whole history of movies and everything that Batman's been part of, and that was pretty well done. There's also a screening room right there in the hallway that you can watch a documentary on Mark and the Fiberglass Freaks and various other collectors. One of another which is in the Indiana area as well. I think he's in the state of Indiana, or at least he was, and that have huge Batman collections of Batman
huge.
merchandise. Yeah.
That documentary is very interesting. And man, I couldn't believe how much Batman stuff they had.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now that wasn't just 60s stuff. That was like
No,
just
that was
all stuff.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was everything. But they did focus on the 60s stuff. I'm not sure where the documentary came from. I think it's on a DVD of one of the movies or something like that. I think, I'm not sure. But in any case, we didn't watch the documentary because we were so itching to go into the museum. So we didn't see the documentary till we were on our way out.
Yep.
So we did watch the documentary, but we were too anxious to see the various stuff in the museum. So we skipped the documentary in the beginning, and then went straight into once you go through the main hall of the history, and past the screening room. The first thing that you see is the Wayne Manor. It's a replica. Obviously, most of these things are replicas. I don't know if there was any actual real props, costumes, or anything like that from the series. I think there might have been a couple, but a lot of this is just replicas. But they have a replica room of the study
Oh,
in Moyne
Bruce's
Manor.
study.
Bruce's
That
study.
it was awesome in there.
Yeah. So you go into Bruce's study, and it's much smaller than I think the one is on TV, because the one in TV, obviously, they have to make it big for the cameras and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit smaller, but it's instantly recognizable down to the wallpaper pattern and everything. Like it's just like it's great. And of course, the centerpiece is the desk with the bust of Shakespeare, which does work.
Yes.
It is fully functional.
Oh man, that was my favorite thing. That's what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid was open the entrance to the Bat Cave, and they let me do it.
They did. They did. Yep.
Oh,
They.
I was so excited.
Yep.
You have to be careful with it though, because it's a little the button's a little tricky. So I was very careful when I did it, but they let me do it, and it was awesome. You you turn the little knob, and the bookcase opened.
Oh, bookcase.
And one of the first things we noticed was Bruce's bat pole was bigger than Dick's bat pole. So I've never, not until we went to the museum did I ever realize one of the poles was bigger than the other.
I.
And
I.
now
I'm with
every
you.
time I watch an episode now I notice it.
Yeah. All joking aside, because it is full of jokes. Believe me, we've said them many, many times, and we will probably continue to do so. But out of respect, I do give them credit for it's just another way that they were that even though these are replicas, man, they are done, they are recreated with love and attention to detail. The Wayne study, the whole Wayne study, it just looks like it does from the show. The bookcase, when it slides the exact same way. The poles have labels on them, which sometimes we found on the show they don't. But in this case, but and not only that, but the poles actually do go down to the bat, what, well, a replica of the bat cave down below. However,
For
to
legal
much
reasons.
to much of our disappointment, for legal reasons, you cannot go down the bat poles. You cannot slide down the bat poles, which is an unfortunate thing. But legally, I can completely understand why they can't allow people to do that. But damn it, I would sign a waiver.
I would too. I definitely would.
So, but just to know that does work though. I mean, because you can see it from down from above, and you can see it from down below. That those are the actual pole, like the same poles. So that's awesome. So it is a two-story building that they use, and they've converted over to Wayne Manor and Batcave. Following that experience, you go into this massive room, and the first item there of interest, I think, is the it's a photo op opportunity where you can recreate the bat climb, we'll say, right? The where they are climbing, where Bruce and Dick, Batman and Robin are climbing the buildings, and there's a celebrity cameo usually that pops out of the window. And if you've ever wondered how they filmed that, well, the you can find out and you can recreate it here. I don't, yeah, I, it's done in a really cool way. We got images that kind of show how it's done. I don't know if I want to spoil how it's done, Drew.
Let them find out when they go to the museum.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's definitely worth that experience alone. So you can do that. And then so that's the second photo op because the first photo op you definitely have to get photos in Wayne's study in Bruce's study, and then you get photo ops for the climb, the building climb, and then following that, they have a sort of display of the Rogues Gallery of Batman and Robin's Rogues Gallery from the '60s show. So there are statues, mannequins, however you want to call them, of each one of Batman's villains, or not each one. A lot of them are represented there, including the Joker, the Riddler, uh,
Catwoman,
Catwoman, yep, Catwoman, Penguin,
Penguin.
Mr. Freeze. I was kind of surprised to see Mr. Freeze there.
Yep.
And I think it was the Mr. Freeze from the Otto Preminger, I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check that. But anyway, they are full costumes. Full costumes on display. And you can take your picture with each one of them, with all of them. Great photo op opportunity. And again, they're replica costumes, but they look really good. They look very, very good.
And one of the other things I want to mention is they have the restrooms in that room, and they even have those decorated
That's
with
true.
Batman stuff. They were pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the attention to detail in every single one of the part of this museum is just first rate. And so once you experience the rogues, if you survive the experience, then you go down to the Batcave. Downstairs to the Batcave, like I said, unfortunately, you can't slide down the bat poles. You have to walk down the stairs, or need if you need it, you can take the elevator and go down to the Batcave. And not, I think what struck me there is immediately there's a huge display of, I think it's Mark's memorabilia, and all in glass cases, and it ranges from everything from like some of the stuff that came out in the 60s for the show to stuff that came out like last year. It's just it's just, I mean, I could have spent 3 hours just looking at that all those displays. So much merchandise. Figures and toothbrushes and clocks and models and replica cars and vehicles and play sets and just everything. Legos, everything is in there. Like we took pictures of some stuff, but man, it doesn't do it justice. There's just tons of stuff there. And of course, comics. There's some comics there too. We don't want to forget about the comics, Drew.
Nope.
Uh, and then once you go through there, then you're led into the Bat Cave itself. In the Bat Cave, and it is got the Bat computer in it, or at least a couple of the Bat computers. I believe they're screen accurate as well. I didn't see a Bat diamond.
No, I don't remember seeing a bat diamond.
So
But
Mark, you got to work on that. Although I think it's only in a couple of episodes. But and then there is a Batmobile right there in there too. And my understanding is that's the first Batmobile that Mark and his friends built. And it is pretty awesome. And you could tell
mm,
it's a little smaller than the one we went to on the day before at the convention, right?
hmm
Yeah, you can't get in it. At least
Nope.
I don't
They
think
had
so. But
they had it roped off, if I remember right.
yeah, yeah. So because it is older, and yeah, it like I said, it's more screen accurate, I think. So it's probably pretty tight in there too. So they don't want anybody taking off with it. So I can understand it. And then there's the bottom of the bat pole, so you can take pictures there. So there's photo ops there as well, so you can take pictures as if you just did slide down. And then there's other memorabilia, and there's also a sort of model of the Ford Futura that they use to sculpt from, as well as I believe this is I don't know if it's one of the first or the only, but it's a replica of Batgirl's Batcycle, which is downstairs as well.
That was
That was
pretty
cool.
awesome.
I've never seen one of those before.
I haven't either. That was the
So
first time, and it was awesome. They
it was,
also had a mannequin of Batgirl
yes,
standing next to it.
in that costume as well.
So, and you can get have photo ops with that also.
Yeah. We should point out too that in the Bat Cave there are with the Batmobile there are mannequins of Batman and Robin in their outfits too. So you can take photo ops with them. But then there's the Batgirl costume as well. And man, it sounds like, I want to say that that's it, but that's so much. There's so much there. And I mean, we were there for a few hours. And then watched the we you know we let as we left we watched the video, which was extensive as far as the history, and then of course we spent some time in the shop and talking with the people that were working there, who were very friendly, and there were some people there, and they were very friendly, and it looks like the town has really embraced. This is what I love too, and this is why things like this are really really cool to support, because it's a small town. This like, I mean, sure, I think DC's probably getting a cut for licensing and all that kind of stuff, but really, it's a small town effort. And the town has embraced it. They've got a cool restaurant and comic book shop, and record store that's like right across the street that you can go and have lunch and talk about your experience with other people who've been there because that's what we did. And it's just like the whole town embraces this kind of thing. And I just love seeing that kind of thing. I just love seeing these kind of things in small towns, and small towns, instead of resisting it, and saying like, what those nerds, what are they doing? Like instead just saying like, cool, we want your money. Come here and spend some money with us. And people do. We did. It's definitely worth it. I can't, yeah, I can't wait to go back, Drew.
I know, me either.
You're a lot
I've thought
closer,
about
man.
I thought about it several times. I'm like, man, I wish I could go back there.
So, I is there anything that I know I've talked over stuff, and I hope I haven't spoiled the experience for anybody, but we're in the video, we're showing pictures. So if you're listening to this, you definitely want to check out some of the images that we have in either the newsletter or on the video that we're posting because you can see for yourself. It's just a one in a kind experience. And it's really reasonable too. Like I think it's less than $20 per person to get in, which to me is just, I would have paid, 4 times that. Don't tell them that. But it's definitely one of the highlights. It was the highlight of one of the highlights of the weekend. Of course, meeting Drew and hanging out with family is always a good thing. Going to the Comic-Con was great. We did some other cool stuff too, which if you look at my social medias, you can see all the other fun stuff we did. But really, if you are in the area or anywhere close to Logansport, Indiana, you owe it to yourself to visit Fiberglass Freaks Batman Museum. And I will, yeah. Is anything else I passed over, Drew?
I don't think so. I think you pretty much covered everything I can remember.
Yeah, it's just a great experience for someone who loves the Batman 60 show like we do. It's awesome. But I think anybody who goes there, I mean, they've got the great thing about it is it's not just a sort of dry, here's all my stuff kind of museum, right? And that's kind of cool too. Look, I've seen Batman collections before, and it's amazing to see people have these huge collections of Batman memorabilia. My own collection is pale in comparison to what these folks have. But to see the fact that they're smart about it and they have like photo ops where you can post online and post on social media and make it a thing. Go to the Batman Museum and get your picture with the Joker or get your picture, scaling the building or that kind of stuff. I think is awesome.
I think so too.
So, yeah, if you, yeah, make it one of those bucket list items that you have to do.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the show. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. In addition to like this whole show has been a shout out to Mark and everybody who works and makes the Fiberglass Freaks Batman Museum a cool thing. But I did want to give a shout out in particular because if you're watching or listening to this summer, this is 2025, on Saturday, August 2nd, the Freaks Museum is doing a special event where they are going to welcome Butch Patrick, aka Eddie Munster from the Munsters, and he is going to be at the museum. Now, he's not coming by himself. He is bringing along, or they will have with Butch, the iconic replica of the Dragula, the gold coffin car that was also created by George Barris, and Eddie's chopper, a motorcycle inspired by the TV show. So he will be selling photo ops, and everything like that. So that'll cost a little bit extra. But if you want to take in that experience of the Batman Museum mixed with the Munsters, I mean, that's an awesome twofer right there. And this is Saturday, August 2nd. The museum's going to be open from 12 to 6 that day. Again, they're not changing. General admission is still going to be $15.99. Children are $8.99. And Butch Patrick will be there from almost the entire time, from 12 to 5. I think he's also going to be doing a meet and greet. They'll be screening at the theater. They're going to be screening in Munster Go Home that night as well. So if you want to make a whole day of it, go to the museum, meet Butch Patrick, go watch the Munsters on the big screen in the theater. I mean, that sounds like a great day, Drew. I think
It
I
does.
think Saturday, August 2nd, your plans are made. So go check it out and have fun and tell them the Bat Chum sent you.
All right, and for my shout out, I'm going to shout out about another superhero museum in Indiana, and that's the Hall of Heroes. Now, I haven't been to that one yet, but I'm planning on a trip this summer to there. So probably next month. I know I've met the owner before because he used to have a comic shop in Elkhart, Indiana, which is where the museum is. I went there once or twice when I was a teenager, got comics. So, and I've seen him several times at the Indiana Comic Con because they usually have a booth there. But I've never been up to the museum. So I'm planning a trip home because I'm from northern Indiana, I'm from Milford, Indiana, which is about 45 minutes from Elkhart. So I plan on going up, visiting my mom, and then making a trip up to the Hall of Heroes Museum sometime this summer. And I'm
Oh,
excited to check out some of the stuff they have. I know they have I know they have Captain America's shield from the first movie because I got to it's got signed it's signed from the cast on the backside. I got to hold it when I was at the Indiana Comic Con one year. So and did a photo with that. So I know they have that. They have some other stuff there that I want to check out. And I know they have comics and all sorts of stuff. So
well,
I'm
I
excited to check out their museum.
we they had information there on that museum at the Batman Museum when we went, and I was like, "Ooh, can we fit this in?" Unfortunately, we couldn't fit it in that weekend because we already had plans to do other things. There's a Doctor Who museum and store too, massive store outside of Indianapolis, which is just crazy that that's there. There's other toy places as well, comic shops. I mean, Indiana. Indiana is a cool place if you're a nerd,
It
if
is.
you're a geek, man. And I can understand why you live there, Drew.
I've been to the Doctor Who store more than once. I've been itching to go back and play their pinball machine.
So yes, so that sounds like a cool thing. Well, when you go there, full report on Bat Chums. We expect a full report, Drew.
All right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Text us, leave us a message, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right, you ready to get out of here, Bat Chum?
Bat Chums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, this time the shame is yet to come. He's coming. He's coming. He's a coming, Drew. He's a coming.